even when United were looking for a goalkeeper, there was big discussion. Who's at the level of De Gea to replace him?
And actually, Onana is one of the best keepers of the season.
But last year he was he needed time to adapt to the Premier League. He was making mistakes, but now, yes, he's like a different kind of goalkeeper.
I think there's a pressure on keepers to play out the back, the Pep style football, and that some keepers aren't always up to that. And we've seen that with the Newcastle keeper, Pope. He can't always do that. It leads to errors. And the Chelsea keepers made a few errors like that. I mean, David Raya is a good example of a player who can play out the back for Arsenal.
When you're a top team and you're comparing with Ederson, for instance, okay,
his range of passing is like a midfield player.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not easy for a top team in the Premier League. Okay.
Yeah, elite level, exactly. Not even just middle of the Premier League. The top keepers, the top style of play. It's so demanding.
Exactly. So it's you don't have time in the Premier League when you're a goalkeeper. It's not like in other leagues. Another weekend with the Premier League. Let's go through the results, Jack, and then we'll discuss some upsets, some strange results. And okay, Leicester, Chelsea, 1-2. It was a really exciting match. Bournemouth, Brighton, 1-2. Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, 3-0. Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, 2-2 draw. Everton, Brentford, 0-0. Fulham, Wolves, 1-4. Man City, Tottenham, another defeat, 5th on the road for Man City, 0-4. And then yesterday, Sunday, we had Southampton, Liverpool, 2-3, another exciting match. And Ipswich, Man United, 1-1 draw. And your team, we will discuss it next week.
Yeah, I thought it probably a good idea to do the podcast before Newcastle play, because then it won't upset my mood if they lose, because that can affect things. No, looking forward to watching that, and we'll discuss that, I'm sure.
You're always upbeat. What do you mean?
Well, but I sense there's an opportunity for Newcastle, so we'll talk about that. But okay. Especially with all the teams with the surprising results, and it's quite close near the top. So,
what do you mean it's quite close near the top?
Apart from Liverpool, I mean for the Champions League places, Newcastle can get 1 point behind the top four if they win against West Ham. So we're gonna wait on that one. I'm hoping everything's crossed for that game.
Yeah, but did anybody expect Man City's is it continue for so many weeks? You expect that next match they will start again on the winning streak, and then every match another defeat.
It's quite surreal how it's just gone on and on and on. These 5 games in a row.
Yeah, but now it's a psychological thing as well. Now
it must be, yeah. Because what does he say to the players? Because his team talks are going to be unique now. 5 games, 4 games, 3 games. Through the run, he's going to be talking to his players, it's going to be a different type of team talk, is it? It's not keep going, because keep going means losing at the moment. Yeah. They need to change things up and figure out a way out of it. Like any team, even the great Man City team seem to be in some sort of rut.
Yeah, because now it's a psychological as well. It's not because now it's at the back of your mind, we're not playing well, I'm not playing well, my performance is not good on an individual basis, which means that and then they have to go to Anfield. And if they lose, that would be it.
Yeah,
well, I mean, it's going to be
already 8 points behind, so that would be 11 points if they lose that game.
11 points. And when was the last time at this stage of the season you breached that gap?
Yeah, well, it's the second highest ever after 12 games, points ahead of the second place team. The highest was Man United, 9 points they had in the mid-90s. The last time Liverpool were 8 points clear was the last time they won the Premier League under Klopp.
Yeah, but when United were winning, apart from Arsenal, the other teams like Kevin Keegan's Newcastle, Okay, we had one off like the Blackburn one when they won the league. They were not at the they didn't have the whole package to win the Premier League. So United had the upper hand. That's why they were breaching these gaps after January.
Yeah, they were the strongest team, and they had that mentality and the culture and everything, which Man City have after January.
Yes,
but
that's why they were going the extra mile and winning all these championships. But now Liverpool, okay, they have been in recent years with Klopp there and thereabout. So it's not the same, in my opinion.
Did you watch some of the game for the Man City game, Man City Spurs? Because I watched it, but then I watched some of it back because I wanted to try and understand.
I watched the Liverpool match, the Man United match. I didn't watch the.
Yeah, the thing about the Man City thing is the individual errors. Just from players you just wouldn't expect. Passes going astray, being out sort of fought in midfield, and obviously Rodri's missing. With everybody speaking about that, how big a deal it is. It is a big deal, but they just seem to be steamrolled through the centre of the pitch, and Spurs exploited that. They're so good on the counter-attack, and they're so quick when they're attacking Spurs. And they were the worst team, as it turns out, to play for Man City because of the way they go about it. And they're so inconsistent, Spurs, don't they? They lost to Ipswich last week. They one lost.
And also, you have about 10 teams that right now they're looking that they're fighting for the Champions League places. So if Newcastle wins against West Ham, they go to 21 points, which is 6th position. And Chelsea and Arsenal, 3rd and 4th, they have 22 points. So it's very close.
It's so very close. It's bunching up there. It's going to be a tight race. It's sort of formed. The league has sort of changed, hasn't it, the last few weeks because of this bad run from Man City, from these 3 defeats in the league. Anyway, it's opened things up for everybody else below Liverpool. Liverpool they're like a machine. Apart from that Nottingham Forest game that they lost, they've just steamrolled every match. They've just been fantastic. And that's why I'm really looking forward to the game next weekend. But they were impressive because they had to show character, because they played on the Sunday knowing that Man City had lost that game, and they knew they would have got 8 points clear if they'd have won the game. So and they were losing that game. So to come back was very impressive.
And Southampton were really good. But when you are fighting for the championship, we know that there is a bit of luck here and there, like the penalty. I mean, it was so that was a turning point.
You do need those things, yeah. You need those moments, and then at those moments, Salah turned up. He's the main man. He's the star player of the season so far, arguably, Salah, and he's very consistent. So he was the difference, and the players for Man City that are the difference. The Haalands of this world, any of them, the De Bruyne's as well, he could just take the game by the scruff of the neck when it's not going quite right, but he's not at it because he's had his injury. Confidence must be low. The team are losing every week at the moment, and he's not be able to get into his rhythm. He can't just come into a game and coast because the team are struggling, and they need players who are match fit, ready to go. And he's going to have to build his confidence up and build his fitness up to the levels that you expect. And it doesn't get any easier because we've got Champions League games coming back around again. The games are just thick and fast for Man City. They need to come up with the answers, because at the moment they're not finding them.
Yes, I might be saying that at the end of January might be said that the race for the championship is over because Liverpool run away with it.
We thought it would be maybe Man City doing what Liverpool are doing, because they've been doing it for years. But
and not only that, because Liverpool, we keep mentioning that they only had one transferring player in the summer, and you were a big concern that maybe they don't have the depth in strength. But it looks like they are just getting into this winning streak. And you don't know when it's going to end.
No, they're just on a roll, and they have a good team unit there. They know each other. there's not like it's been transformed squad. They were all together last season, all of them, apart from that one player who's hardly played, Chiesa, because he's been injured. So they've just got that base. They've got that nucleus. They've got that spirit. And as for Man City, it's hard to analyse exactly what's gone wrong. There seems to be lots of things. There's obviously a confidence thing. Like I said before, it's the individual errors. The defence doesn't seem to be holding out as strong, and yes. Haaland keeps missing every shot that he has rather than it going in. He could have had 2 or 3 goals in the first 10 minutes.
We know, with the centre forwards, it's a psychological thing.
Even for the top strikers,
any striker, apart from Ronaldo and Messi, if they stop scoring, then they start thinking. It's not an instinctive shot, and then your goal tally goes down. So it looks like he's in this moment right now. We had another dismissal of manager.
Yeah, Steve
Cooper. Leicester.
After the Chelsea loss, and
yes,
I think it's the first one of the season, isn't it? So it's taken a few months, but I don't think they ever really took to him, some of the Leicester fans, because he took their close rivals Nottingham Forest up and kept them up and did a good job there. But they're doing well anyway. Well, they were doing well. They're still riding quite high in the table, Nottingham Forest. But Cooper never really got. I don't think after that Maresca left to go to Chelsea, I don't think he seemed to be the right man to come in. And from what I'm reading, the players didn't really take to his tactics. When they directly compared it to what Maresca was doing, bearing in mind this guy took them up on a really high points tally and had played a great style of football, got the upgrade to go to Chelsea, top team, wanted his services. To follow that is a difficult task. And to come in to try and motivate the players.
Yeah.
He's brought in some players. He spent some decent amounts of money, despite Leicester being on the edge of a points deduction, which they, I think, narrowly avoided for the PSR rules, like many of the clubs did over the summer. He still signed some players, and he's signed some players. And he's not really been playing some of them, And I don't know if he doesn't know his best team or what, but it's just not seemed to have clicked. The fans didn't seem to be on side, and they just need to find somebody who can come in and do a job.
Oh, there are some rumours. Maybe Ruud van Nistelrooy.
You might see him back quicker than we expected in the Premier League. Leicester manager David Moyes has been linked as well. He's got a track record, hasn't he, of keeping teams up.
We'll see. But at the same time, Chelsea looks like Maresca steadied the ship, and they're now, it looks like maybe they will kick on from here.
They're really free flowing, playing nice football. I really like their attacking players, Madueke and Palmer particularly, but Jackson looks like a new player.
But even Felix, he looks like he's on the up.
Because he's a top player. He's sort of lost his way the last couple of years. Yeah. He was a big record buy, wasn't he? For hundreds of million, 140 million euros or something like that. And he's obviously got pedigree. He's still only young, and if he can find the right fit for him, which is Chelsea, it seems to be, he's going to start playing his best football. I like Pedro Neto. They've got an array of attacking talent. They're great to watch. They sort of need to sort out their weaker points at the back, especially their goalkeeper. I'm not convinced he's a keeper that they need long term. They probably need somebody a bit more reliable, doesn't make as many sloppy errors. But going forwards, I enjoy watching teams who have got the attacking flair. Them and Spurs are good for that.
It's a good point actually about the goalkeepers. But who's a top goalkeeper to go to these type of teams now? Even when United were looking for a goalkeeper, there was big discussion. Who's at the level of the hair to replace him, and
actually Onana is one of the best keepers of the season.
But last year he needed time to adapt to the Premier League. He was making mistakes, but now he's on a different kind of goalkeeper.
I think there's a pressure on keepers to play out the back, the Pep style football, and that some keepers aren't always up to that, and we've seen that with the Newcastle keeper Pope. He can't always do that. It leads to errors, and the Chelsea keeper has made a few errors like that. I mean, David Raya is a good example of a player who can play back for Arsenal.
When you're a top team and you're comparing with Ederson, for instance, okay,
his range of passing is like a midfield player.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not easy for a top team in the Premier League. Okay.
Yeah, elite level,
exactly.
Not even just middle of the Premier League. You know, the top keepers, the top style of play. It's so demanding.
Exactly. So it's you don't have time in the Premier League when you're a goalkeeper. It's not like in other leagues.
So Chelsea will be pushing on the door, but I think they're a couple of players short of really being a title contender.
Yeah, but they can kick on. Maybe next year they will be title contenders.
Yeah, once they've established an identity.
Yeah, exactly.
And talking of establishing identity, we need to talk about Ruben Amorim, because there's been lots of talk about him. First game,
yeah.
Everyone has to adapt to his style because he already has his style that he wants to put on the players even before seeing the players.
And
that's interesting.
And he's not going to change that. So
no, this is my way. We need to play my way. So
I
three
agree
at the
with
back.
him. I agree with him, because all these pundits say, "Oh, he hasn't got the players. Maybe how he's going to implement his philosophy." And he keeps saying, "I'm not going to change." Okay,
it's worked for me, and he said, "I'm most confident in that style, so I know that it will work. I can make it work."
Not only that, because okay, if you ask me, the way he wants to play Casemiro and Eriksen against Ipswich, they were the weak link for this type of match, and the type of system he doesn't like Amorim to.
The intensity of the game.
No, when you keep saying about the systems, he gave so many interviews in the last few days. You keep going on about the system. It's not different. It's just to adapt some things. But in his post-match interview, he was the one he came with details, and he was so transparent, which was unbelievably transparent.
What did you make of that? I couldn't believe how transparent he's been. He's almost giving away the secrets.
It's
incredible.
Yeah, but is
he naive? Maybe
no, he's not naive. But nowadays, with the head coaches or the manager, they have so many support from backroom staff, there's assistant coaches, the data they get. It's not like he's he mentioned Evans, for instance. And what he was expecting him to do and what he didn't do. Okay, it's very easy to analyze it. Believe me, they have a football analyst, even if he was not that transparent in his post-match interview, the other teams, they are easily going to pick it up. Okay, but the thing is, it's going to take time. He asked for time, and we know that it's going to take time but he's a breath of fresh air in the Premier League, because we haven't seen anything like this, and it's the way he projects himself to the media and to the world is completely different from what we have seen so far. Not only in England, but I don't know the guy. I don't speak Portuguese, so I don't know what he was saying in Portugal. But I've never heard anyone, talking to the media like this.
I reckon he'll get a tap on the shoulder from Sir Jim and saying, "Just don't mention as much stuff." I mean, we like your media presence. That's great, so? But I think maybe not yet. But if they start to get figured out, he's going to have to rethink some of his tactics if he's going to reveal a lot of the stuff.
Yes, if he goes into that much detail, okay, and then the outside world don't see that this mistake is corrected in 3 matches, because the matches now they're coming thick and fast, okay, and you keep seeing this mistake, then it might turn on him, okay. But if you see progress and these mistakes are corrected, then he will be okay. we know the psychology of the supporters around the world, how they react. Okay, but for now, he's. I mean, even Craig Burley. I was watching ESPN. He said he's the right deal. This guy, he looks,
He
but
seems to be very confident, doesn't he, in what he does? He's young, he's got the energy, he's got the drive, but he seems like a nice guy as well. He seems like he doesn't seem like a dictator. He seems like he's quite methodical about what he does.
He looks like he knows how to manage a football squad.
He doesn't seem phased by any egos or anything. He's got a smile on his face. He's not like it doesn't seem too big for him.
But I'm sure,
that.
He's strict when he has to be. I was watching Gary Neville's interview about the 5 days off that Casemiro and he said, okay, there are no rules, so they had the 5 days off, and they went off to the States, But we should have everything put down and internal regulations. This is, okay, it's Man United. There's some of these little details. Come on, it's Man United. These internal regulations and what the players can do and what they cannot do. Small clubs here in Cyprus they do have internal regulations, and the players know about it. How can you just go, have 5 days off and you go to California to watch a basketball match?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not like you're going to Spain, which is an hour and a half flight from Manchester. It's just across the world.
I think from his point of view, when he comes in, he's already come in, put his stuff on the desk. He's on the training pitch. He's sorted out his first match day squad. This is just the least of his worries at the moment. He's going to be fighting battles, isn't he? From all these different departments, from the players.
Yes.
He's going to be shocked at. I mean, we don't know the internal culture, but we can have a guess because it's been all over the place for the last 18 months, 2 years at Man United. It's been chaos.
But you have seen with all the mistakes that they made yesterday. Okay, you for the first time in such a long time, you can see that there was a structure. There was with all the mistakes, there was a structure.
Yeah, that he's trying to implement it straight away, and the players need to buy into it and quickly because where they are in the table,
And for the first time, I watched a 6+ minutes video from a training session. Usually, this is just for PR. What the teams are doing it. They say, they just showed some players going around, play rondo, and then that was it. 1 minute, and that was it. But it was 6 minutes, and you could see what he was trying to do with the players.
Because he said something interesting in that Gary Neville interview, didn't he? He said because Gary Neville, he said there's only one way, and Gary Neville said, "What do you mean one way?" To explain, he said, "My way is that it's quite simple. When a player has the ball in whatever area of the pitch, or the opposition has the ball anywhere on the pitch, every single one of my players needs, they're all at the same time. They understand their roles. They understand what they need to do in that moment, wherever it is." He said, "It sounds simple. That's my philosophy. So I'm going to be intrigued to see how this works."
That's why in his post-match interview, basically he was trying that they had all the squad just 2 training sessions together. And they were trying to give as much information to the players, and that's why he was feeling that they were a bit confused and they were overthinking about the next move and what to do, their positioning. And of course, when the final whistle and the TV was on Amorim, you could see that he was really frustrated. He was really pissed off. There's no other way of saying it. He could see that he was so angry of what he saw that I personally, when I saw him, I said, okay, I don't want to be in the dressing room like that.
So yeah, he would have really let rip. I think that's where he's going to get frustrated because if they don't take to his tactics and to his philosophy or don't quite understand, you might see some surprising team sheets, you might see players who have been left out, who have maybe picked up in training, picked up on his philosophy, and they might be in the team. So he might.
And he said that he will have to rotate the squad in order to understand who is going to give him more in a particular position.
And depending on the game. And we already saw he put Rashford in and he scored. So, it's already a bit of change.
Yeah, but still, there were no too many goal opportunities.
Yeah, clear-cut chances.
Yeah. So, and I think the reason is that the two guys in midfield, the offensive transition was too slow. So
they're not as dynamic as they need to be.
Rashford had only 14 touches in the whole match.
Yeah, that's not
your center forward.
But that through Ten Hag's time, he hardly touched the ball. Rashford was one of the least touches in all of the players in the league.
Which was the main problem. They were not creating enough chances. Garnacho, not a single cross in the box.
Yeah.
So
they're not hitting the numbers they need to, these players individually, and it just really affects the team going forward.
Yes, 102, the whole squad, the whole team ran 102 miles in 90 minutes, which is the lowest in the Premier League this season.
That doesn't surprise me, and your stats don't lie when it's things like that.
So, and from a coach that he wants to really push hard. He wants really his teams to be on the go, right? That was really disappointing. That's why he said that we're looking to the data and explain to the players what happened here. Okay, so anyway, it would take time. It would be painful for us Man United supporters, but for the first time in so many years, I'm really encouraged from this coach.
Early signs are good, yeah.
Yes, okay. So then the rest, we'll see it on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go through the matches for this weekend. We have Bradford, Leicester, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, Ipswich, Wolves, Bournemouth, West Ham, Arsenal, local derby, Chelsea, Aston Villa, interesting match. Man United, Everton, another interesting match. Tottenham, Fulham, and Liverpool, Man City, and the following Monday is Brighton, Southampton.
Yeah, so good games there.
Yeah,
I just want to quickly touch on Wolves because it was another surprising result. We said about surprising results, and obviously the Tottenham game was the standout one, but Wolves winning 4-1 away at Fulham was a real surprise because obviously until last time out before the international break, they beat Southampton. Before that, they hadn't won a game all season. Bit of pressure on their manager. And I watched the highlights of that game, the Fulham actually took the lead, and then Wolves got 4 unreplied goals. And then, it was a real surprising result. And the goals were really good as well. Matthias Cunha, the striker, did 2 unbelievable finishes and 1 assist, and he ran the game. So he could be a player linked with the bigger clubs. I mean, Wolves fans listening will be like, no, please don't mention that. But he's one of the standout players for goal involvements this season, below the top tier players, below the Haalands and the Salahs and the people of this world. And so if you get a chance, I'd encourage to watch that back because it was really impressive and it was free flowing. And like I say, we just want to be entertained, don't we? And when the goals have been chipped into the top corner from the edge of the box, is not a better feeling, is there, to watch? So yeah, that was a pick out result for me over the weekend.
Usually after the international break, you do get strange results.
Yeah.
But fortunately, the next international break will be in March, if I'm not mistaken. So
finally, there's a long gap because it seems to be an international break every few minutes at the moment.
Yeah. Personally, I don't like it because you start the season, you expect the teams to start, getting into the rhythm, and then in September you have the international break, and then they start again, and then in November another international break. I mean,
start. No, the rhythm, nothing.
And then a lot of the players, they go in South America, they go in different parts of the world, and then they come back like this weekend, and most of the teams the coaches, they have only 2 training sessions with the whole squad. It's not ideal.
There was one crazy one where, because you've got a player in form, I know they've lost the last couple of games, but you've got Nottingham Forest and their star striker, Chris Wood, he's from New Zealand. So he went all the way down the other end of the world to play against Samoa, and they won 8-0, and he scored a hat-trick or 2 goals or something. And then he has to fly all the way back to play for Nottingham Forest, so they put him on the bench. He probably would have started if he hadn't have gone all the way on that long trip, different time zones and everything. So it does affect teams. When you got players, South America, also down to Asia, you got Son going away.
Yeah.
You know, these sort of players, they go all over the place to play international football.
Exactly. So it's
really disruptive.
But now we have a long gap until the next.
And I think that's good. So I think it's good if we can just focus. I mean, we've got Champions League here and there, but you can just focus on the league.
This international break, it looked like it was a really long gap from last time we had matches in the Premier League for some reason.
Like that. Yeah.
So it's anyway, we'll see. This weekend, as we said, the match that really stands out is Liverpool Man City.
Yes, a huge game. It's if Liverpool
I would definitely be watching that. I would definitely be watching that.
Yes, if it's 11 points between Liverpool and Man City at the end of that end of play on the Sunday, surely it's over for Man City. Surely 11 points is too much, but you never know.
That's why I would be rooting for Man City to win.
Yeah, because it's just a nightmare for you, isn't it? Liverpool or Man City for the time. You couldn't have thought of a worse thing.
But Liverpool, we don't want them to overtake us in the total of the championship. So Man City, they have a long way to go until.
And it's actually bad news for Man United as well that Man City are doing so badly recently, because Pep said that's possibly one of the reasons why he changed his mind. He was thinking this would be his last season, but he's extended it for 2 years now, and he's going to be, if they lose this season, if they lose the title, if they don't retain the title, this season, he's going to be even more hungry next season. So you've got a strong Liverpool, a reasonably strong Arsenal, although they always seem to fail. Chelsea stronger probably next season, and Man City fired up, maybe with some more signings. So it's good, and you got Amorim still trying to bed in. It's going to be difficult.
But for me, I always say that I prefer that 4 teams go for the title until the later stages of the league.
That would be great.
Okay, but now we're sitting here and say maybe it will be over in January.
Yeah. I still don't think it will, but I think Liverpool Liverpool will have their Man City moment where they lose a few games. Maybe not 5 in all competitions, but they're going to lose.
Maybe 6.
You're hoping. Everything's crossed for that from your side, but I hope so. I hope that there's like a competitive league. Yeah, we don't want to see. I used to hate it when Man United were winning the league every year by 5 points, 10 points.
It was boring.
So you didn't mind it. You didn't mind it, especially when I hated it when Newcastle threw it away under Keegan. That was very painful. But you want to just see the competitiveness, don't we? That's what we want to see.
Of course I do. Of course I do. Okay.
So fingers crossed for that.
So we'll come back next week to analyze what is going to happen. Hopefully, at least it will be a draw at Anfield.
We want entertainment. That's what we want.
Exactly. So we'll come back and we'll discuss what is going to happen this weekend, next week.
Thank you, Nicos.